The function is defined as, so we have the function f, and we have it defined as ax plus b. So the function f is defined as ax plus b, but we don't know what the values of a and b are, right? And so it says find the values of a and b given that f of 1 is equal to 11 and f of 2 is equal to 9. So although we don't know what the values of a and b are, our goal is to figure out what those values are, and they give us hints so that we could be able to piece those together, and that we could be able to calculate the values of a and b. The first thing that they tell us is that f of 1 is equal to 11. Now f of 1 basically means that in place of x, we're going to put 1. So f of 1 is going to be equal to a. In place of x, we put 1. So a times 1 plus b, right? So that's what f of 1 is. A times 1 plus b, because we just replace x with 1. And so if we simplify this, we get a times 1, and a times 1 is simply a, and then it's going to be a plus b, which is equal to 11. So f of 1 is equal to a plus b, but we know that f of 1 is equal to 11. So if f of 1 is equal to a plus b, because a times 1 is a, and we just put the plus b, that means that a plus b must be equal to 11, because f of 1 is equal to 11, and f of 1 is equal to a plus b. So these two must be equal. Now we need to figure out what is f of 2. Well, f of 2, all we need to do is, in place of, and wherever we see x, we're going to put 2. So notice we have ax plus b. So instead of putting x here, we're going to put 2. So it's going to be a times 2 plus b. So f of 2 is a times 2 plus b, right? And if we were to simplify this, this would be 2 times a, right? 2 times a plus b, right? So that's what f of 2 is. 2 times a plus b. But we know that f of 2 is equal to 9, so we set that equal to 9. And so here we have two equations, right? We have that a plus b is equal to 11, right? That's what we have here. And then we have 2a plus b is equal to 9, all right? So we have 2a plus b is equal to 9. And so what we actually have is we have a simultaneous equation. We call this first equation, equation 1, and we call this second equation, equation 2. Our first step is to make a the subject of equation 1. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to take equation 1 and we're going to make a the subject of equation 1. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to take b and send it over the equal sign. And so we have a is equal to 11 minus b. So we send b over, and this is 11 minus b. All right, so that's what a is. And so we have made a the subject simply by sending b over. It was a positive b, but when you send it over, it becomes a negative b. So a is equal to 11 minus b, and we can call this equation equation 3. Now, we're gonna substitute equation 3, this is equation 3, into equation 2 and solve for b. Now, this is equation 2, all right? This is equation 2 right here, all right? So equation 2 is 2a plus b is equal to 9. Remember what a is, right? A is equal to 11 minus b. So we're gonna take this equation and we're gonna put it inside of this, right? So we know that a is equal to 11 minus b. So we have 2 times a, but remember what a is. A is 11 minus b. So instead of putting a, we're gonna put 11 minus b. And so that's why for 2a, we have 2a. This is a, remember? But remember, a is equal to 11 minus b. And so this is 2 times a, but a is 11 minus b. So instead of putting a, we just put 11 minus b. And so we substituted equation 3 into equation 2. So we have 2a, right? 2 times 11 minus b plus b. And that's supposed to be equal to 9, because that's what equation 2 is. Now we distribute, we say 2 times 11, and 2 times 11 is 22. We say 2 times negative b, and 2 times negative b is a negative 2b, plus b is equal to 9. What we can do is we could work upon our like terms. We have negative 2b plus b, and negative 2b plus b is equal to negative b. So we have 22 minus b is equal to 9. We're going to take this 22 and send it over the equal sign. It was a positive 22. When we send it over, it becomes a negative 22. So we have a negative b is equal to 9 minus 22. And 9 minus 22 is definitely negative 13. So we have negative b is equal to negative 13. We divide both sides of this equation by negative 1. So b is equal to positive 13. That's what b is. So now we know what b is. We're going to substitute b is equal to 13 into equation 3 and solve for a. So what is a? A is equal to 11 minus b. But what is b? B is equal to 13. And so instead of putting b here, we're going to put 13 because that's what b is. So we replace b with 13. So a is equal to 11 minus 13. And 11 minus 13 is negative 2. So a is equal to negative 2. So that means that b is equal to 13 and a is equal to negative 2. And that's going to be the values that we are going to use for our function. Okay, so before we didn't know what a and b was, but now we know what a and b are now. B is 13 and a is equal to negative 2. And that is going to help us with plugging in those values for this function. Okay, next we have, it says here, the function f is defined as ax plus b. Hence, or otherwise, find the value of x if f of x is equal to negative 1. Now, what is f of x? Well, we know that b is 13 and a is equal to negative 2. So f of x, which is defined as ax plus b, is actually negative 2 because a is negative 2, negative 2x plus b, but b is 13, so we have 13. So our function f now looks right because we have f of x is equal to negative 2x plus 13. And so this is great. Now they tell us that f of x is equal to negative 1. And so what we're going to do is we say f of x is equal to negative 1, but what is f of x? F of x is negative 2x plus 13. So let's put that down. So remember, f of x is equal to negative 2x plus 13, which is still equal to negative 1. And so now we have a linear equation that we can use just to solve for x. And so we're going to take 13 and send it over the equal sign. It was a positive 13. But when we send it over, it becomes a negative 13. So we have a negative 1 minus 13. So we have a negative 2x is equal to negative 1 minus 13. Now negative 1 minus 13 is equal to negative 14. So we have negative 2x is equal to negative 14. We divide both sides of this equation by negative 2. And we cancel this with that. So we get that x is equal to negative 14 divided by negative 2. Now what is negative 14 divided by negative 2? Negative 14 divided by negative 2 is going to be positive 7. So that means that x is equal to positive 7. Now, it says that the function h is such that h of x is equal to 2x minus 3 all over x. Calculate h inverse of x. All right, so calculate h inverse of x. Now we know that h of x is equal to 2x minus 3 all over x. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set h of x equal to y. All right, so we have y is equal to 2x minus 3 all over x. And now what we're going to do is we're going to swap x and y. And so notice that this is x. And so we switch over and notice that this is y and this is x. So wherever we see x, wherever we see y, sorry, we put x. So we take this x, put it over here. And wherever we see x, we put y. So this y would be here and here. Okay, so we basically swap. So again, this is y is equal to 2x minus 3 all over x. And so since we're swapping, wherever we see y, we put x. So y was over here, so we put x there. And wherever we see x, we put y. So we had two x's, so we put y here and we put y here. So we swap. Now we're gonna solve for y. So we have to cross multiply. And so y times x is going to be xy, and 1 times 2y minus 3 is simply 2y minus 3. Again, we're still trying to solve for y. And so what we're gonna do is we take the 2y and we send it over the equal sign. So let me show the arrow there. So we have 2y, we send that over the equal sign. It was a positive 2y, but when we send it over the equal sign, it becomes a negative 2y. So we have xy minus 2y is equal to negative 3. We notice that y is common in both terms, so we're going to factor the y. So notice that y times x is still xy, and y times 2 is, and y times negative 2 is negative 2y. So we factored out the y. And we're gonna, remember, our goal is to solve for y, so we're gonna divide both sides of this equation by x minus 2. This cancels out with that, so we get that y is equal to negative 3 all over x minus 2. Now, y, now what we're gonna do with the y, we're gonna set the y equal to h inverse. And so that means that h inverse is equal to negative 3 all over x minus 2. So quick recap, what did we do? The first thing that we did is that define the inverse. First step, we set h of x equal to y. So we have y is equal to 2x minus 3 all over x. Second step, we swap x and y. So wherever we see, so we switch places with x and y. That's the first thing. So here we have x, right? I'm sorry, here we have x. And so, here we have y. So we're going to change this y into x. Here we have x's, we're gonna change those x's to y's. And so the second step is we swap. So first step, set h of x equal to y. Second step, swap x and y. Third step, solve for y. And we did it by cross multiplying. We send the 2y over. We factorize, we cancel, and we get that y is equal to negative 3 over x minus 2. And the third step, so after we already set h of x equal to y, we already swap x and y. We solve our equation for y. So y is the subject. And so whatever our value of y is, whatever y is equal to, that's what h inverse is. H inverse is going to be equal to negative 3 all over x minus 2. And that's the answer to this question.